Most people cannot understand why some people, some individual just play the victim so much. They cannot understand why they don't want to be winners, why they don't want to be successful. They just want to play the victim. They just want to be this small, little, insignificant thing that's always hurting. And why all the time they're looking for the most hurt that they can do on themselves by others. They're looking for this one person that will hurt them more than the last person so that they can be this victim of the world. I'm sure you know exactly who I'm talking about. You have a person like this in your life, always seeking and going like a fly towards the light, trying to get closer and closer and getting burned every single time. And they cannot learn from that mistake. They cannot understand why they're doing it. And they're always victimizing themselves. They're always playing the card of the victim. They always tell the same stories, how much they lost. They tried to rise up and have success. They tried to do this and that and this and that and the other. And then they failed miserably because of the other person, because of these other people. But you see, you have to understand that when you are a victim, you get a lot of social sympathy. People empathize with you. People see you as someone who has bad luck. People just gravitate, more victims gravitate towards that victim, and even winners gravitate to the biggest victims. It is because they make all of the excuses in the world, and you think that they will make the same excuses for you, but they will not. They only make those rationalizations and those excuses for themselves. They're so pernicious. You might think they're not judging you. It's because they never think about you. They never think about your emotions. They never think about anyone else but themselves. You have to understand that someone who is a winner never makes excuses for others, never makes excuses for themselves. They're very blunt, very cutthroat when it comes to making excuses and playing the victim card. They cannot stand it. They cannot stand that part of themselves because they understand that when you play the victim, you lose all of your power. No matter how small your power is, you lose it all. You have no responsibility, you have no control, you have no power when you play the victim. You might think you have, but you are always sacrificing more than you are gaining. You are gaining attention. Sometimes you are gaining money. Sometimes you are gaining favors. Whatever it is, relationships, all of these things, because you make people feel something. But you see, you sacrifice your own image. All of these people will never be able to see you any different than just this small, little, insignificant person, this small, insignificant victim. And it's so bad. Of course, it is a lot more lonely to be a winner. It is a lot more of a solitary life. But once you understand that you have nothing, absolutely nothing to really appreciate at the loser's table, you cannot enjoy anything. If you enjoy anything, they're gonna usher you out. If you are grateful or you dare to say that this world that we live in is great, they're gonna just boot you out. You either are like them or you go away. You cannot appreciate things. You cannot be grateful. You cannot be happy. You cannot feel like your life is meaningful. They're gonna try to always undermine everything that you do. Not because they want to. It is because they're protecting their own worldview. It cannot be that this world is great. It cannot be that someone can succeed so close to them, because that means that they now have to do something to change their circumstance. So they're gonna usher you out before you have any success. So they're gonna lie to themselves and say that, oh, this person has success because they did something else, because they have no friends. They just went away from this friend group and they sacrificed everything. I'm not gonna sacrifice my friends. And you see how they turn everything in reasons for why they are the victim. And it's because of sympathy, it's because of friends, it's because these types of groups just become so entrenched in this victim mentality. And you have to understand that it doesn't really brew anything, it doesn't make anything. All it makes is more suffering, more pain, more and more victims. The problem is that people don't realize that a group of victims will make more victims, because that mentality is a virus. It just spreads like wildfire, and it just continues to spread. And certain people who wouldn't have had the chance to be a victim now put themselves in the situation to be a victim. They look for opportunities so that they have something to tell their group, so that they have something to share as well. They're gonna start treating their partners wrongly. They're gonna start arguing with their family. They're gonna start fights at work. They're gonna start drama just to feel like they have something to share with the group. You have to understand that sometimes victim mentality is not born. It's not something that you have because of trauma. It is just because of the sympathy and the affection that you get from the others that do the same thing and participate in this ritualistic victim mentality. Of course, bad things happen to a lot of people. God knows everybody has their own traumas, their own bad things. But you have to understand there are so many other people who lived the same things that you did or worse. And they still made something out of themselves in spite of that. You don't have to be a victim because certain things happened to you. Yes, those things happened. Very important to make the distinction that they happened in the past. They're not in the present right now. And sometimes it's very difficult to get over them because we've been hurt. Every single one of us, you and I and everyone else, we've been hurt tremendously by accident or even by malice. And you have to understand that even in those cases, it is not worth it to wear it as a badge of honor that you've been victimized. You have to understand that rising above the trauma that you had and rising above all of these things that hurt you will actually make you better. Once you understand that those things don't need to be resurfaced, all of these things don't need to be worn like an armor, you can just let it go because that moment in your life is gone. You already know how to protect yourself. You don't have to keep the wound open. You can just let it heal, drop down the armor, and just understand that you can spot that behavior a mile away. But you see, if we keep on wearing that armor and holding that open wound, certain people will just look at it and be like, hey, I can make you feel this again. I can make you learn more about this. Because we think that by keeping this alive, this trauma in our head alive, we will learn more and more about how to protect ourselves. But no, at a certain point, we are being more than protected. We are being sheltered so much that we seek that which happened to us. And it's so sad. It's actually a term. It's called the what's it called? Something with S. Oh my God. Yeah, it's victims of torture that go and fall in love with the torturer. It is the Stockholm syndrome. The Stockholm syndrome. You have to realize that that's a real thing. And it is because we view this victim mentality as something that's beneficial to us. We start to coagulate with the people around us, get sympathy, get every attention possible. And it is toxic. It is absolutely toxic. You have to get out of it and try to have as little victim mentality in your brain as possible. Because at the end of the day, you are the only person who can solve your problems.